Alright, let's get moving. So we've got a championship up here. Dirt races involving minis. You might be wondering, didn't you win like a mini off-roader last season? Yes, I did. One of these big red ones up here. Yeah, they're rubbish. I'm sure the AI can drive them quite well, but I can't. They roll all over the place and pitch and yaw like a rowboat. Somehow I managed to make that checkpoint. I thought I'd missed it, but apparently it was good enough. So I've got a souped up, smaller, more nimble mini. I'm sure those big chunky ones are better for off-road specifically, but for dirt, I think I favour the lower. And this one's got off-road tyres and stuff still, so we're still doing it. Should be good enough. We don't have to do too much this season, because we've also already almost got the series rewards regardless. But I do want to get the 40-point season reward for this. But if possible, want to avoid doing the trial this time round. The reward is a car I already have anyway, and it just seems like more stress than it's worth to try and go for it. I don't know, we'll see. It is 10 points, so it might be a case of try once. If we get lucky, then hey, great, 10 points in the bag. If we have to redo it, we don't bother. This championship will at least be 5 points, which is a good start. We've got the 2 from the Rivals, the monthly Rivals challenges, and there was a photo op that I've gotten out of the way that was just a custom car in front of an old ruined church, so wasn't desperately exciting. So we're 4 points, 10% of the way there. Unfortunately, we do have to do 3 races to get 5 points for this, but that's where the trial can be good if you manage to get it done straight away, because 10 points, potentially 2 races, is quite a good conversion rate. Kind of depends on what sort of races they are. There we go. Alright, now we're into a mixed surface race, so definitely glad that we didn't take one of the big buggies. You can change car by race, of course, but I like to just kind of stick with the same one. Get a better feel for how to use it, how to throw it around the track, what the braking points are. And hopefully that the brake in that sentence is spelled correctly. This is actually quite a fun track as well. It's racing through the top end of town, and then a little dirt section on the outside, outskirts, past the baseball stadium that we took a picture of last week. I think we got the checkpoint. You can really nip inside the lines on some of these. I feel as long as you're on the road, surely is that not good enough? They do have barriers and stuff after all. I wonder if I should bring back the display that I do have an on-screen display for controller inputs. Maybe that would be fun. Not sure where I'd put it on screen though. It's hard enough finding a place to put my camera. A little bit messy there, but we've got 2 more laps of this. Yeah, turn 2. There we go. Jump through on the inside. Almost a street track, really, or a asphalt race. Like, not a hell of a lot of dirt on it. So you gotta hope having the off-road tyres on doesn't cause you too many issues through these sections. Anyone that has the wrong tyres, yep, see, you do wash a little bit wide with those if you're not careful. That's the things, I might lose a little bit of my lead here. But when it comes to going on the back end, that's where we make up. And we don't need to worry about other people in front of us anymore. Oh, I often use them as my cue for where to brake, so that is one of the reasons why things go a bit to crap after I take the lead. I just need to stay in front. At least it's not raining anymore. That was a bit better through that corner, I think. One more lap. This is actually quite a long track, really. It's like almost 2 minutes per lap. A lot of the time they're like a minute 30 or so each. Usually if you're spending more than about 3 or 4 minutes on a race, well, 3 to 5 minutes, then it's a pretty long one. And then you have the huge ones that take like half an hour. Which are fun in their own way. Oh, wrong corner. I remembered I needed to brake more for one of these. Did it a corner too early. Yep, once again. See, I keep thinking that I should look at the minimap less and actually pay attention to what's in front of me. But then when I do that, I lose track of where I am on the corners. And brake too much for the one before the one that I needed to, which is not a good habit. I think I'll just stick with looking at my GPS too much. Unless you spend enough time on a particular track to learn the layout, then just use the map. It's there for a reason. Awesome drift. Not too much to say at this point, just a little bit of dirt racing ASMR, really. Ugh, yeah, and then overcook it. And we'll see how much more we can rip through. We've got one more race in this championship. And see how many others we need to do. And last race is a sprint instead. Well, point to point. I can't remember what they call it on this one. Each game mode has its own terms for whether it's a lap race or a point to point. Big off-road mini just wallowing around. That's why I didn't want to use one. This is a bit more of a hardcore dirt section. This is where having the off-road race tyres would be more useful. I think I just have the standard ones. Just trying to get past those massive vehicles can be a bit hard at times. I have a feeling my tuning is more towards acceleration rather than top speed, so these long straight sections not gonna do too well. Don't know why they took the line they did through there, so I'm fairly sure mine was better. Ah, now we have some water. Which this one is not going to do too well at, and the big off-road ones are going to handle it a lot better. That's always annoying. We are pretty low. Just gotta hope we can stay in it. Even behind this guy. Take some better lines like that. Yeah. And then of course they just get in my way, but I don't need to win this race anyway, to be perfectly honest. It's always nice to, but not a requirement to win the championship over there. But now I've just got a bit more of a dusty section through here that I should do it right at. I can get a decent corner up here and not get stuck behind him. There we go. And we're good. In fact, it looked like he crashed somehow. Not sure how he managed that. And with that, we've already finished off the series, so that's all we needed for the Gallardo Spider. Unfortunately, we still need to do a little bit more, quite a lot more, for both of these rewards. So we need 31 more points. We can get some free ones from daily challenges, we'll look at that separately. 2013 Dodge Viper or 2017 Ford M Sport Fiesta. Alright, so of the two of them, I needed to buy either, and I prefer the Dodge. So now that we've picked it up and driven it for a little bit, we get to see what we need to do next. So it's a weird dichotomy. It's like win any sprint, trail, cross-country or street race, so such a variety there as you experience either the 8.4 litre V10 or a 1.64 cylinder. That's, yeah, quite an interesting pairing there. I guess one's meant to be rally versus the other meant to be street racing. And we need to win any street or cross-country race anyway. So I don't want to do cross-country, that's for damn sure, so I guess we're doing a street race. Alright, so we've done a few tweaks to this after purchasing it because we know that it's not going to be great. Because cornering-wise especially, this is not a good cornering car. Oh, and I'm against a Lamborghini who was just shunting me, so that's a good start. So we've upgraded the brakes, and we've upgraded the springs, and the transmission, and the tyres. But we haven't done much in the way of power upgrades, because I feel that should be unnecessary for this vehicle, quite frankly. Yeah, we mostly just need to be able to take corners better, and then we can put the power down and stay competitive, because otherwise I think that we'd be struggling every corner just to keep it on the road. Especially when they try and push you off it. Okay, we're going to rewind that. I always lose track of the fact that street races have traffic. A little bit of foliage there still. It looks like someone else has a Dodge up ahead. And they're doing much better, funnily enough. I quite like this particular street race because you have a few good open sections. Especially good for this vehicle. Got a bit of a twisty bit through the hill here, but then it turns back around and just zooms across the motorway again. Thought I'd missed a checkpoint, but just managed to sneak inside apparently. Let's see whether or not we can stay ahead. Get ahead rather. Got a Porsche and something else. I feel I should have the legs on these when it comes to top speed. Someone's going across. Fortunately, taking the hit there on the wreckage slows you down quite a bit. Yeah, it's more of like a track toy thing off to the right. So probably not so good on the top speed, much better on the acceleration. And we can just outdo the Porsche as well, it turns out. But we're a little bit too wide on that. Whoop. Whoop. Even more wide, even more, and missed the checkpoint. Was. I missed the traffic, but I also missed the checkpoint, so let's maybe actually brake a little bit. Remember what I said about upgrading the brakes so that I can corner? Yeah, I should probably actually do that. Or use that, rather. Good enough. We got there in the end. Good. Unfortunately, you can't appreciate the car properly in the lighting, because it's always at night for street races. Right, so what do we have to do next? Paint the body of either car. Okay, and put your stamp on them. Alright. See, if you told me to do that first, I could have done that while I was doing the upgrades. Right, does it count if I just change to like that? Is that going to count? We'll put on our usual decal, because it did say to put your stamp on it. You know what? We can probably just rotate 90 degrees and just stamp it on the door instead of putting it on the bottle where I normally would. You can even just tilt it slightly and it won't matter. Scale it down. Move it. There you go. That works, doesn't it? Right, and after all that, I just now need to earn some awesome speed skills, so let's head to the motorway, I guess. This house location is chosen because it's not far from the motorway. We'll just cut across some country and get there, I guess. Probably get some awesome speed skills before we even get to it. See the viaduct in the distance. What sort of speed are we getting? I can't see through all of the wreckage skills. There we go, onto the motorway. And let's just open the tabs, see how we go. I think you have to be doing at least 250 to get the awesome speed. We're just getting speed currently. Great speed. Awesome speed, there we go, so we just need 5 of those. If we get ultimate speed, does it not count the awesome? I don't think we'll go fast enough for ultimate speed somehow. I think you have to be going like 350 or even 400 to get, maybe, I think 350. Oh no, there we go, ultimate speed, 330 must be enough. It's probably based on miles. There we go, going further complete. And that's another weekly challenge done. You know what, we could probably do some drifting at the street scene outpost. So we just need to get 6 drift skills at the street scene outpost. Well, there's an e-drift skill, and just a burnout. Because I have taken off all of the driver aids, which means we're now just going to slide everywhere. Which is kind of what we want to do, but preferably in a control fashion. Come on, that was a drift tap. Problem with when you turn all the driver aids off is it becomes very hard to control, funnily enough. And it's hard to tell what's actually going to give you a drift skill sometimes. It seems it doesn't actually want to drift, it just wants to spin. Oh, there we go, we racked up enough of them. Even if they didn't show, it might have been a case of like, we got one, but then immediately lost the combos and didn't actually give it to us, or didn't show it to us. Alright, up next, an interesting one. We had to use, oh, let's get my view fixed. We had to use barn finds for this one, which is fun. It gives you an excuse to actually use them, because otherwise they get kind of forgotten about. They had to be B-rated. So I've got this Porsche that's just barely B-ranked. It's B701, I think. 601? Apparently. One above the minimum. So hopefully that's adequate. I don't really want to tune up a bunch of stuff. Hopefully no one's going to just zoom off ahead. It was that or a Ferrari that was slightly higher rated but had worse handling. And my rule of thumb generally is, especially at the lower ratings, is handling is so much more important than just speed. So many races have a fair number of corners all thrown together. Very few of them are just about straight line speed. Like it helps for sure, but and then this one I think had better, the Porsche had better acceleration I think, and handling. So a slightly lower top speed is not as important. And so far it seems to be working out for me, so I think the braking's better on this too. Oh, except oh, I just remembered. I turned off all of my driving aids for doing the drifting in the Dodge just before. Oops. I have no ABS or traction control. Now, this is like a 70s car, so I don't think it probably had traction control in the first place, but it probably had ABS, and locking up for that sharp corner just reminded me that I don't have that anymore. It doesn't seem to be mattering too much though, to be honest. I just need to remember and just feather the brakes instead of just jamming them on, or just rely on lifting off a little bit, and we'll just get a little bit skinny. But that's fine, it makes it more fun. Yes, any sharp corners I need to be sure to brake responsibly, you could say, like that. Just a dab of the brakes well in advance of the corner, so we don't need to worry about the wheels locking up. This one up here is going to be the real test, so let's just feather a little bit and just get the tail out. There we go. No worries. I could train myself to just drive without all of the requisite driver aids anyway if I really wanted to. You rack up more credits that way, but at the end of the day, if you mess up badly and have to redo a race, you earn a lot more by just doing a second race than retrying the same one over and over because you spin out without stability control. And in a car like this, it's not going to matter so much, but the higher rating the cars are, the faster you're going, the more you're likely to just spin if you're not very careful. If I was using like a wheel and pedals, then maybe I'd have a lot more control over it. Well, theoretically, I wouldn't, because I have no idea how to use them, but for a controller setup, just use the driver aids. So much easier. There we go. Right, emboldened by our success, we'll keep going with no further upgrades or tuning. Oh, own 100 unique common cars apparently, because I got a wheel spin and won a Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. Okay, I didn't think it worth showing on screen, but well, we had an accolade pop up, so may as well talk about it. That was terrible through there. That's the other thing with cars of a low rating, is you generally can't afford to crash into things much because you get slowed down a lot. You do. Your opponents, not so much it seems. Alright, this is the tunnel run, so we've got to be tight through these corners here. I did re-enable my driver aids, we have ABS again. Oops, just as well, because I almost completely missed that corner. That one always catches me up, because there's the one that goes straight ahead as well. We're up against, I noticed, a like 650 rated car, and I think it's that Dodge that's dead ahead of us. Now, I'm guessing the saving grace is there is all of its rating points are in speed, and it's rubbish in any other respect. So, our biggest competition appears to be another Porsche. Not surprising. He's got a better line through more of the corners than me, I think. But we've squeezed ahead. Oops. Just take out a couple of power poles, no big deal. Oop, that. I had to dive back across just so as not to miss the checkpoint. And that led to a little bit of awkwardness, but thankfully not enough to lose a place. The streets do look cool racing at this time of day, it must be said. But the colours don't quite pop as much as they do in broad daylight. I really feel that there is not a huge distinction between street racing and just the asphalt racing. Half the time you don't even see other traffic, like I haven't seen another car. If traffic's on, I've not seen any evidence of it. So what's the difference and what's the point? It could just be normal racing. Street racing thing definitely feels like a bit of a afterthought. Like, I think the main point of street race categories generally is for like a head-to-head, you know, the old racing for pink slips sort of thing out of Fast and Furious scene and everything. And there is a bit of that. There's several races, about 5 of them, that you unlock, where you do race up against a specific car, and when you win, then you get that car. I feel that could have been a story mode, because there are stories that you do. You get like 3 stars on each, or up to 3 stars in the progress. And then I feel that maybe you just have accolades used to reward you with cars, or you know, get 3 stars in each step, and that gives you the car or something. I don't know. I feel they could have used that model instead of having the street racing exist as a separate thing. Because yeah, it generally doesn't feel like it makes a huge amount of sense compared to just normal asphalt racing. I don't know. I guess you do get less accoutrements, like you don't have the big barriers and the grandstands and everything like you do in the asphalt races. I'm not sure if that's really that great a thing, but there is a cosmetic difference. Other than these stupid flares being used as the waypoints instead of flags, for example. It just looks nasty. You're just polluting. Come on, guys. We're better than this. Bit of a hill climb segment here. Struggling a little bit. Thankfully we don't seem to be struggling too much more than everyone else. They're right behind me though. So, I don't know, maybe the gearing isn't great. It's probably the sort of thing that if I was doing manual shifts, then maybe I'd have been able to stay on the power longer instead. It's just kind of hurting me a little bit. This is also where like that dodge is probably coming more into its own. Nope, it's another Porsche right behind me. It's where ones with more top speed would do well. But the important thing is that we won. And we get a Nissan Titan of all things.